Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Angiosperm Morphology course. Now it's time to begin our next chapter, chapter 3, and that is stem. So far we have covered 2 chapters. The first one was a brief one, parts of an angiosperm plant, and the second chapter was about root. So this is the third chapter on stem. Stem or main stem is the primary axis of the plant, and it arises from the plumule, just like radicle forms the first root. Similarly, plumule of the seed, it forms the first primary axis above ground, and that is the stem or main stem. Now, as we have seen in the very first video, the parts of an angiosperm plant, the stem plus leaves, and if there are flowers or fruit, it constitutes the shoot. So these terms are somewhat used interchangeably, the stem or shoot. So just to be precise, or what do I mean, let's draw a simple diagram. One more leaf. And in this particular diagram, if we consider this axis, only this one, now this is the stem, strictly speaking the main axis, when we are not talking about the leaves. And when stem and the leaves taken together, they constitute the shoot. So this is stem, and this entire structure, it is shoot. And in our following discussion, and in fact our discussion throughout this course of angiosperm morphology, we shall stick to this definition. The main axis, or only this part, this is the stem, and the rest is the shoot. That is the stem and the leaves, they constitute the shoot. Similarly, a branch is also a shoot. So branch is also a shoot, as it has an axis, its own stem, with its own set of leaves. So again, let's quickly draw a diagram. This is a stem, and we have node and a leaf, and here's the branch arising from with its bud, apical bud. More about buds later in this chapter. And now it has its own set of leaves. So as you can see, this is its axis, the stem of the branch, and it has its own set of leaves. So this is a shoot in its own right. So this is a shoot, a whole plant. It's a composite type of shoot consisting of main axis and the branches and so on. So branch is also a shoot, and main axis with its leaves is also a shoot. Having said this, I must confess that sometimes it becomes difficult to distinguish between a shoot and a stem, and also on occasions discussion is in such a way that it applies to stem as well as shoot, as we are going to see shortly. And although the title of this chapter is stem, and mostly you will find the chapters with the same title, that is stem, but the description or the discussion inside the chapter relates to both the shoot and the stem. Anyway, let's continue our discussion and exploration of the stem. We are going to discuss two things here as far as the shoot is concerned, or the shoot and the stem. First, the composition, although we know about it, composition of shoot, or what it consists of. And second, the characteristics of the shoot. So it will give us an idea what we are talking about, and it will in a way clarify the discussion regarding the stem and the shoot. So first of all, let's see what a shoot consists of. Shoot consists of what? A main stem, main axis or stem. Secondly, a number of leaves, and obviously we do not know the number of leaves on a particular shoot. This can be any number, from very few to very large number of leaves on any particular shoot. So a shoot may consist of or it consists of, in fact, main axis or stem, a number of leaves, and a bud. What is a bud? We haven't yet defined it, and we shall define it shortly, because this is the topic of this particular chapter. And it consists of a bud at its apex, known as the apical or terminal bud. And this bud helps in its growth. Because of the bud, the main axis or the stem or the shoot, it keeps on growing, producing more leaves. So these are the components, or these are the basic things of which a shoot is composed of. And next we have the characteristics of shoot. So the characteristics are that it tends to grow upwards towards light. Although this definition may not apply to all the shoots, as we shall see later in the chapter, but we are talking about a typical stem or a typical shoot. So first of all, it tends to grow upwards towards light or in the air. One. Second, it bears leaves, and during the reproductive season, when reproduction starts, it also bears flowers, and as a result of those flowers, it also bears fruits which are formed from those flowers. So it bears leaves, flowers, and fruits. And that is the shoot. Its growing apex is covered by few very small leaves, and those leaves collectively, they form the bud. So its growing apex is covered by small leaves, very small leaf, tiny leaves, and those leaves actually are part of the bud, the apical bud. And finally, the branches which arise from the shoot, they are exogenous in nature. That is the shoot, it branches exogenously, as we shall study in the anatomy section, the formation of branches in the stem and the root. And in the root, the branches arise endogenously, that is from within the tissues, from inside, whereas the branches of the shoot, they arise exogenously. So these are few basic characteristics of the shoot, that it almost always tends to grow upwards towards light, towards the air, that it is mostly aerial, and it is supposed to bear leaves and flowers and fruits. Leaves are found almost throughout the year, except deciduous trees and plants which lose their leaves during the autumn. And its growing apex is covered by leaves, and they are actually part of the bud. They form the bud, the apical bud. And the branches that arise from the stem, from the shoot, they are mostly exogenous in nature. So this was a short introduction to the shoot and the stem. More about stem in the next videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.